Welcome to the Moon God Pod. I'm your host, JwowLax, and this is the reason why we have this podcast. Our guest today, the one, the only, Mr. Micah Johnson, founder of Aku World, former Major League Baseball player, and one of my friends. Good
Good
friend.
to see you, Good to see you, man. Bright and early. Bright and early for the both of us. Late for you, I guess.
Yeah, we are. It is 5 a.m. in Los Angeles time. The sun is not quite up, but in the Aku world, when does the sun ever rise or set? We're always at work.
There
So,
you go.
um, first of all, we had you on an older podcast right after Genesis had first dropped. Anyone that's watching this podcast already kind of knows your story. So, we're going to kind of leave that behind this particular episode. I just want to jump right into, first of all, in the evolution, we've got the anniversary coming up, 2 years for Aku. What is this process really been like from like your expectations from when Genesis dropped to where you're sitting at right now?
It's definitely been a process, man. It's definitely been an opportunity to learn and grow as a person and as a someone in the business world and the art world. It's been a very it's been really enjoyable. I'm a person that really loves the process, and so there's been an opportunity to learn and discover new things, and it's been really fun and rewarding. And it's something that I think some of the learnings that I take over the past 2 years is something that will lay the foundation for the rest of my career. I'm still young. I still have a lot of working years ahead. So it's been really an invaluable process.
One question I that kept popping up when I was sitting there thinking about this, to kind of start off a little light as well is, if you walked out to Dodger Stadium right now, could you hit it out of the park?
1,000%.
1,000%. When's the last time you picked up a bat and hit it in the cage?
The last day I retired.
So the last day you retired, but just cold,
2008.
you could just crank it.
Yeah, man. Yep. 1,000%. Not even a question.
So what has been like your most recent home run that you feel like you've had, especially like in 2022?
That's a good question. I think it just goes back to some of I don't think it's a tangible thing. I think for me, like I said, I'm the process guy. So uh, I look at a lot of the learnings that I've had over the past year and some adaptations I've made as a human being and as a leader, as like home runs. How it comes in those one-on-one conversations with a team member, where you can, they might be struggling with a certain area or overwhelmed in a certain area, and you can talk to them in a way that uh, uplifts them. I think those are the home runs right there when you can uh, bring some people along and encourage somebody and get the best out of them. It's almost like being a coach, when you can get a player to perform at their peak level, and give them the tools because they're the players. They're the ones executing, and so your job as a coach is to put them in a position to execute the highest level and really just be there, to empower them. And so like for me, that's my home runs is when I can work with the team, instead of culture, instead of tone. And for me, that it's something tangible in the sense of like an achievement. It's the day-to-day interactions in those moments right there, those teachable moments.
The team concept is really important, and this is kind of like you're running like the pro team, although you're the player, coach, owner. You're what was the movie with Will Ferrell, like Jackie Moon, of the tropics?
Feels like
Uh,
that sometimes, yeah.
more successful, hopefully, than the tropics. I want to bring up Roger RD. I think that was one of the most important additions to the team, and I've every time I talk about Roger or to Roger, I always say the first moment that we met, I caught up with him at a ferocious paint party, NYC 2021, and I was always sold on you. Like after the first time we did our podcast together, but I asked him, I said, what is it about Aku that you're so bullish on? And he was a strong voice in the NFT space at that time and still is, of course. And he said, Micah. And that was, I kept waiting for like more, like something else. And he said, just Micah. Kind of tell us about that relationship that you guys have forged leading up to you bringing him on board.
Well, first of all, RD has been instrumental kind of behind the scenes even before, just as a thought leader and somebody I just like to jam on the, philosophies of the space. But when there was a clear need to fill a role where things started to grow and expand, and I knew that my focus could not be entirely on one particular area of the company, and Roger, had expressed interest in joining, that was huge because, like you said, he is a respected leader in the space, not just across builders, but also with artists as well. And fundamentally, at my core, I'm an artist. And so he understood the importance of allowing me to have that freedom and flexibility to create. And that's where the good things come from, and having fun. And I think that's really what he preaches a lot is just have fun. And it's been really incredible to see the way he builds relationships with the community and takes into the feedback and regurgitates that to me, and we can jam on it. And he's such a level-headed human being that could take harsh criticism and turn that into action, and not get offended, and actually welcomes feedback and criticism. So it's important for us to, as we expand into traditional verticals, that we stay, grounded in Web3. And like, he has that ability to see both sides, Web2 and Web3. And so, he's the perfect fit for what we're trying to build here. And, we jam every morning. He's up early, I'm up early. So we get a good jam session in pretty much every day. Just talking through ideas, talking through, what the community sentiment is, different things, but then also talking about the overall, market and overall perspective.
One of the 2023, I guess you could say like branded statements for Aku is prove it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, like, what does prove it mean? And what will it take in your eyes for you to finish this year out and say, we proved it?
For me, it's Aku up to this point had been a lot of, I don't know how to, like, a lot of hype, a lot of potential, a lot of Aku could be that, Aku could be this, Aku, one day is going to be this. That's cool, man. When you're a rookie or a prospect, in the league or, in the minor leagues or coming out of college, you're like, well, this guy's a prospect. You never want to be a prospect for too long. You want to be an established player in the league, and to do that, you have to get over that stage and actually deliver tangible products, deliver, real experiences for people, and not just in the Web3, but also in the Web2 side of things. And so for us going into this year, I met with the team on January 3rd. They needed a break at the end of the year, so we're giving them much needed break, from December 22nd to the 3rd, to just relax, get their thoughts. Then on the 3rd, we came back and I presented them a deck. It was like 30 pages or something of the strategy for the year, and strategy for really beyond, 2024, 25, 26, and hyper specific on deliverables that we could deliver in those timeframes, and really being specific on what we're going to be focused on for this year, that we can get Aku out into the real world in a tangible way. And that's what it means to prove it. And we can deliver on things that can real people in the real world, kids can interact with, kids can engage with, kids can touch and feel and see, in a sustainable way. Is going to be when we can actually prove that Aku has that kind of, staying power and demand, that we all kind of hope and wish for the past 2 years.
So would it look like potentially like in, like Christmas 2023, like would prove it kind of be like the 6 to 12-year-old kids asking mom and dad for something Aku related?
We'll see. we're gonna do our best to get, we have a show we're rolling out in next second half of the year, along with the social impact initiative. We're actually giving back to kids across the country in a really meaningful way, and partnering with some incredible companies and organizations there. Um, but we'll see. I mean, that's always the hope, but the map is built for really 5 years out. That's really the map. And it's, there's certain steps you can't rush, and this can't be rushed. You think about books, you think about toys and all that. There's a cadence for those that you just really can't kind of get around the timing of them. But we'll see. I mean, I think there's some I'm really, really bullish on the show concept and what we're doing there and the partners involved with that. And I think that's going to be very unique and fresh for kids. And I'm bullish on the social impact side, because it'll be the first time, and not the first time, but it'll be a way for Aku to actually be a character doing good, not just a symbol for good. And kind of, really showing the potential of what this character can mean for kids. So it's going to be an exciting year. It's very focused right now on, across the team, focused on the specific tasks they need to do to complete the year, which is a really refreshing lens to operate from.
And what can you share as far as like what that focus is? Like what is the team?
Yeah.
Because we've got the anniversary coming up, and everyone is not only been told that like some big stuff is coming out, but also expecting. And the hardest part, I can speak for myself, but certainly in the community, is when there is like expectation and we have this like time to speculate. And we believe in you and the project so much that our speculation can sometimes get pretty outlandish as well.
Mm-hmm. No, so transparently, like what we're focused on obviously is to roll out this for Aku's birthday. It was really important tentpole moment for us going into the year. And why that's important is because I feel like I had this, RD and I talk about this, and credit to him for pushing on this, was back in the day, like 2020, 2021, I was all in on, in 2022 to a degree, like I just kind of did what I wanted to do, right? And release things how I wanted to and all that, and X, Y, and Z. But we were really tapped into the crypto culture, really tapped in. And as we build out Web2 and you build out these amazing impact verticals and these, media interval verticals, you kind of need to still focus on the crypto culture side of things. And I think that's what's my core fun. It's fun to be engaged in that side of things. And so with the backpack, the backpack initiative that we're kind of rolling out is like, I wanted the backpack to be a theme across the brand, right? Aku's yellow backpack is a symbol of generosity. It's a symbol of goodwill. And so that backpack, like, with our impact side, but also on the Web3 side, like that's where good things will come out of. And that will be kind of our staple. And there's exciting things for the backpack release, and kind of that whole birthday rollout, that I think will tap into some really amazing things that RD's gonna roll out this week. Just getting back to releases, getting back to mechanics, getting back to fun throughout the year is something that we're really leaning in on. I mentioned in the meeting at the top of the year was like, we need to double and triple down on this existing community before we think about, expansion of that community. This is the core community. We got to really be laser focused on things that we can do for them, while also taking feedback. Well, we didn't really like that. Okay, cool. Let's make adjustments. But like, at least as we progress towards and do more things with the community to double and triple down with them, they'll know that we're hustling for them, and we're not just kind of just letting the hype be the driver of the value of the Akutars and the chapters in the ecosystem. And then on the Web2 side, the focus is laser focused on the social impact side and the rollout around back to school, and then getting actual content out there for kids to consume.
Mm-hmm. So we always release our podcast on Monday. So that'll be it'll be February 20th when everyone's watching this. So if you want to let any alpha out right now, by all means, just flood it out.
Well, RD did a really good job, man. Hats off to him, and hats off to our developers as well for creating really intuitive burn mechanic, really intuitive design website. Just like it's just super professional, super clean, super exciting. There's going to be a lot of fun things for people to engage with this week. Well, if it comes out on Monday, it'll be this week. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Has there been any pressure, concern since the contract from the Akutar Mint? Like, has there been even maybe like some hesitancy that has kept maybe something, like there wasn't a lot rolled out post Akutars, and we've seen other projects actually really, like say we're going to take our time and we're going to get this right, and then they fall flat on their face, with their mints or whatever. I don't want to throw anyone else under the bus. Was that kind of laying in the back of your mind at all? Has that really had an effect?
Yeah, I think it did. Because it's like I got away from just shooting. Like the only way I can describe things is through the sports lens. So if people don't watch sports, they might not understand, kind of my perspective. But sometimes when you're in a slump, you kind of lose confidence. You're just not hitting the ball right, or you're missing shots. So you do get kind of hesitant. You do get kind of hesitant. And going into this year, I didn't want to be hesitant. We got to get back to just what we want to do. And at the end of the day, operating from a lens of I'm really bought into this thing, and I'm going to offer this to the community, and I'm going to roll it out this way, and you're convicted in that, then that's a place of confidence. That's a place of confidence. And if it falls flat, at least you came from a place of I'm convicted in this. So yeah, there was definitely some sense of hesitancy around that, and then trying to just figure out what we wanted to do next. But now we're back, and now we're firing from all cylinders.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's been 2 years. It definitely, sometimes it feels like, man, it's flown by, and then other times it feels like in Web3, like, man, the fact that people consider me an OG or an expert on anything, like I immediately cut that. I'm like,
Poker.
Poker, yeah. I'm like, talk to JwowLax, talk to Armunu or Wiggles or these other guys. They're the expert. I'm still learning from them. What is it about Aku? How do I want to say this? With Aku, I think it's such a powerful message, and I always compare it to like Black Panther. Like this is kind of like a minority Peter Parker, like a young guy. Yeah. And in case any of you guys are watching on the video feed, we just got our special guest jumping in a little late. He wanted to listen in first before he really stepped in. JwowLax, welcome to the show.
What up, brother?
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm loving that sweatshirt. Oh my goodness! Like what?
Clean, right? Don't miss the embroidered part.
Oh, it's so fresh.
Don't forget the texture.
And can I rub it? That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, coming next week.
No, that's good.
Look, JwowLax just bull in a china shop, jumping in. So to just finish my thought, Micah, like Black Panther was a great example of like why like a black superhero would be embraced, and there was like pushback before it came out, and it's broke box office records, whatnot. My question is it an Aku thing, or is it just like maybe a Web3 thing? Like this just seems so prime for an Oprah, an Obama, a Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's an astrophysicist, like to really like kind of champion this. And I'm not saying, like they have to shill it or anything, but like, boy, like this story is, the society's ready for this. And it seems like it's right up their alley on something that they would want to be a part of. Is there
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the truth of the matter is we got to get a way for them to engage with the brand. Right now there's what, just NFTs is the only thing that, that a way for them to engage. When we start really getting into real tangible content, educational content, and we're really, books and all these great things, then there's a real tangible way for them to engage with the character. But it's on us to get the to get the actual IP out into the world in a way that is palatable and to our target demographic of that kid range of that 6 to 10, 12 range, so they can really interact. And that's what we're really focused on for this year, is content that can serve that purpose, and be a foundational building block for the IP to scale across different verticals that they can engage with. So it's the potential. You're right. I mean, that's how I see it too, and the potential there is there. And now we're not in ideation. I say this: we're not in ideation mode anymore. We're in execution mode. We're not ideating. Beginning of the year was not. I don't want ideas right now, because we got the ideas. We know what we need to do. Now we're in execution mode, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, Micah, every time number one, glad to have you on the podcast. It's always great to see you and interact.
Yeah,
it's
always
fantastic, always fantastic. So can you take us behind the hood? Like, what's a day in the life of Micah Johnson? We know you're always on the move. We know you're cooking and shaking and doing meetings. What's that look like for people who may not know?
Whew. Well, I'm a father, man. So people need to understand it ain't just life is. I'm got a 3.5-year-old daughter that just doesn't stop. And so, for me, when I try to be very intentional about my days, and be hyper focused on the things that need to be accomplished at that time. So, it's when you're operating so many different things at the same time, where you have to oversee the long-term vision of the company, right? That's my job. I gotta look across not only just what potential opportunities there are with a book or TV or content or products, or I also am the creative lead on it. So I'm very I let everybody collaborate and create, but then I'm very specific on kind of like what I see and what I want. So you're juggling not only being a father and trying to be amazing at home and helpful in all ways, but also overseeing the long-term strategies, overseeing creative, still finding time to create, and then always trying to give myself time to think. It's pretty busy, but like I structured it in a way where I get up super early in the mornings, and that's my creative time. So while I wake up, the mind is freshest in the morning, in my opinion, so I can really be creative. And then I spend the next, back half of the day taking meetings and strategizing a little bit.
I love that. One thing from the podcast, we get lots of interaction with community members. And one thing that I think is interesting, I would like you to spread light on. So on one hand, the message of Aku, can astronauts be Black? All can thrive. And on the other hand, there's a financial component. Like, how do you separate from the community perspective? How do you separate the all can thrive, but at the same time drive value back to the community as well?
So I look at that message of all can thrive in a sense of, I look at our job as, from a character and brand perspective, is to be educators on the possible. And whether that's across 3D building, whether that's across different jobs, different ways that influential people were able to get there. We want to be the people that kind of show underneath the hood of how to get there. And then, from the financial side of things, I think the way I looked at separating the brands this year from Area 21 as the NFT core community and the brand kind of does that, right? Where we can focus on like the needs of the community. We understand that, right? We RD understand that better than anybody. Where we can we can kind of like separate the two. It's like, well, this is the exclusive club over here. They've been here from the beginning. They've been here rocking with us. Like, we're going to create fun mechanics for them that serve that purpose. But then here's this larger brand that is existing in the world that is empowering kids to be the actual builders and be the creators and be the next Taylor Swifts or the next Leland Melvins, right? Like, let's show them the possible through the character and some of the content that we put out.
So I want to go on that. one of the biggest things, my selling point for being a moon god exclusively, holding all 10 chapters, was that it wasn't even about access to this moon god channel, because what does that really mean? And I would always tell people it's about being a part of this mastermind. And when I would tell people that, I was really kind of thinking like down the road, like some influential people would get on board. One thing that this podcast has done in spades for us is we've got to connect and really profile some of these moon gods and kind of get to learn that we have some straight up killers in this. Armunu, Kintsugi, Meta Mike, Wiggles. I mean, and that's just our short list. If this is the community where we all thrive and like can kind of contribute, the mega with the commercial rights seems like something that, boy, like if you let those moon gods that have the megas go, like that could really help.
I think so too. I agree 100% with you, actually.
And
there's some definitely killers in here, man. That just I can learn a lot from, as I try to, navigate myself through this. But I agree with you on that. Actually, RD texted me this morning about that.
Is that something that we could, you can commit to it or whatever, but like if you, with the commercial rights that the megas can have, and Aku is you and your vision, but how strong could like the megas kind of going in a parallel direction really kind of push Aku? Because my good friend Big D, that recent moon god, and I've talked to about him a ton of times, like he's just waiting, and he's got he's got 3 businesses that he plans on implementing his moon god. Certainly Armunu is, always he's got ideas out just at infinitum. So does that work? Does that work where, you're pushing the Aku and then the megas with the commercial rights and allowing the moon gods to kind of do their own thing and grow attention that way? Is that a universe that works when it's parallel?
I think so. And I say that because the mega OGs are in the hands of real people who care about the brand, right? And there's a real opportunity for them to build alongside with us. And it's something that like naturally, like I'm just like, as a crypto native person, like I really love that idea of commercial rights. Obviously with Aku, the pursuits that we have, like it's beneficial that we hold on to Aku and the IP of Aku, right? Because of just our relationships and the way what we're building. And I think that we're doing it the right way here to deliver value back to everybody and kids as well, with this character. But I think with the mega OGs being such a different character aesthetically and really just the feel of them, there is the potential for them to really run. I would like, I don't know, like it just jamming off the top of my head, I think it'd be kind of cool if like the mega OGs was like the arch nemesis, or like the bad side of Aku, or I don't know, like the adult side of Aku, or just that little element that can go places we can't go as a brand, and kind of letting that run, like almost like the adult swim Aku. I don't know, there's something there that if you let these people kind of run with it, like I know that they're going to be careful and thoughtful about what they do, and respectful of what we're doing as well. And I think there's opportunities to collaborate. So, I think it's something that I'm super, excited about the potential of for the mega OGs.
No, I can't wait as well. I think the megas, I'm really excited about that. I think if we look back and we just kind of study the history of Aku, I think we literally have had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows all in the same like emotional, nerve-wracking journey, right? So can you speak to some of the lessons you've learned and regarding the highs, and some of the lessons learned regarding the lows as well?
Lesson with the highs is super simple. I don't think about the highs. And this is not a new revelation for me. This is exactly how I operated my whole baseball career. The days I went 4 for 4 or 3 for 3, the next day I would be in there early, because when you're at the highest, the only way you can go is low. The only way you can go is down. So, when I'm at the highs, I don't think about it in the sense of I don't hang my hat on that, because I know that it's going to go down, right? And that's okay. and transversely, it's the same with the lows, right? Like, the lows suck, and it sucks even more now because there's a lot of people depending on some of the decisions I have to make. And that's a lot of responsibility. It's not that I had just have, 10, 11, 12, 15, 20 employees, right, that are dependent on me. I got thousands of people who believed in this vision and have put their name on it, their name behind it, believe in this and told friends to believe in it. So there's that responsibility in the lows that really weighs on me, really weighs on me. And so how I try to operate and navigate through that is from a place of confidence, man. A place of, I have clarity, I have direction on where this is headed, and a place of conviction. And so going back to sports, like when I would be in a slump, you inevitably, we're all human. So you're going to think about you're going to have self-doubt. You're gonna be like, man, like you just want to feel it. But if you have a clear path, the path you're on, that conviction will pull you through those moments. And like we just gotta wake up and keep stepping forward and keep putting that one foot in front of the other, because it's going to work out eventually, because this plan works. This plan will work, And so that's really the biggest lesson, I've brought into this. And also another big lesson is being confident in myself. And I say that because entering into a new world of the stakes ramped up, right? When it was just, early on and I was releasing first chapters or I was releasing art on my own, it was on me, like if it didn't like my art, you didn't like my art. There was no other consequences beyond that. Like, you just didn't like my art. That's no big deal, man. That's subjective. But now, as we really are looking at, we're doing some deals and we're looking and we're making commitments to the future here. And it's starting to really turn into it is a real thing, being confident in myself that what worked before will work now. What got you here, you got here, you're here for a reason, and what got you here worked. So stay true to that. And so that's the two biggest lessons I've had is just don't think you're on top of the world, the highs, stay convicted in the lows, and have confidence in that you know what you're doing and you're the right person in the right seat.
No, I definitely think that's fair. If I look at the Web3 community and I look at all projects, I think that from an outgoing perspective, we have a scorecard, right? And that scorecard includes retweets and community engagement and the Twitter side. It also includes floor price. So as you guys are behind the hood and you're planning and you're comparing our project to other projects, how do you think we're doing, and are we attacking floor price? Because it seems like it's something that the community is talking about a lot.
Matters. Why would it not matter? These people, like, what would you like? I understand the bigger vision of Aku, and people are, believe in what we're doing, but it does matter. I don't think you should shy away from that. And so the decision we make does I want to focus on that. I don't want to, I think there's a point where, you could say, oh, we're building, but like that's a batting average, really. Yeah. Like that's really a batting average. That's a stat, that you're measured upon. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether, there's other metrics that you think are better, whatever. Like at the end of the day, that's a simple metric to measure, are you delivering value to the community? Because if you're hitting on all cylinders, it will reflect that. And, our performance over the past year was not good. Performance prior to that, good. Okay, so now you're basically, one good season, one bad season. So what are you going to do this next season? And ultimately, what matters the most is what have you done for me lately? And that reigns true. And so that's what we got to focus on here. And, I'm not going to sit here and say we're not focused on it. We are 1,000% focused on that, because that matters. Like, that straight up matters. That's what I care about as well, because that's the scorecard, man. Like, do I think what our floor price, do I think our floor price should be where it's at? No, I don't. But have we delivered value or done things over the past 7 months to say otherwise? No, we haven't. So we got to turn it around, and we got to we got to look, take a hard look at the end of the year and say, okay, like, did we do anything for our community to have them continue to believe in us? Like, no, we didn't do what we needed to do at the end of the last year. So what we're going to do? Make a change, make a difference, come into the year with clarity and focus, and say, okay, these are the things we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. And we're not going to fall off this track. We're going to stay on this track. And if it doesn't work, but we did it and we executed it and we were convicted in it, okay, man. Okay. Like let's go back to the drawing board. But like that was kind of how I looked at going into this year was you got to be real with yourself too, man. This ain't hopium or like anything like that. Let's be real, and let's get it back to where we know it could be, man. I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about it's like NASCAR. I don't know if anybody's a NASCAR fan. When you bump draft, you're riding behind, then shoot, you slingshot. And that's kind of like the position we're in. We've just been bump drafting and riding off momentum and hype. But like now it's time to deliver on things and look at that metric.
So I like that comparison of drafting. As a sportscaster, I did cover a number of NASCAR events.
You see my NASCAR knowledge? Don't let me
just flexing.
Play with me, man. When I'm on the racing simulators.
got Tony Stewart blowing smoke.
Indiana boy.
So my as an athlete, you're always spending time in the film room, and like even a guy like Kobe Bryant, is just constantly watching film. So watching other projects and seeing where they're kind of being successful at and where they're kind of making mistakes at, how important and how close of an eye, not maybe just you, but like also the team. And, they're like, I just think of like the Dookie game, like with Bored Apes, like not an impressive game at all, but the sewer pass is going for, 2,000-3,000 at one point. For a very simple game. Like, are you watching the film and what are you learning from the other projects that you'd like to implement with Aku?
Yeah, watching the film 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the film 100%, man. I used to know all my guys I was playing with. I used to know everything about them, man. But what I'm seeing is a lot of great things. Real talk. I think you look at Yuga just is they have a clear vision on what they're building and they're executing on that. But what's cool about what Yuga is, and I'll get into specifics on all these. What's cool about what Yuga is doing is they have a long-term vision of a video game, of an open world, very ambitious video game. But it looks like they're executing on that. And they have the right people to do that, right? And they made some great moves there. But at the same time, in the short term, they're still executing across fun things for the community to engage in and deliver value to the community, speculate on, create some like moments like this, right? I think it's really, really cool to see how they can have that dexterity to have that long-term focus and then boom, deliver on the short-term stuff. And that's cool. I look at, hold on a second.
We got a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Oh, she's clapping for the dog. I'm like, what? Another example, another people I look at is Pudgy Penguins. I think I look at what they're doing over there with like, you look at like what they're doing on Instagram. Have you seen their Instagram, right? Like they are consistent in what they're delivering on Instagram. And that's just relatable content that people kind of feel good about, and then you look at the way they're engaging with the community on Twitter. It's really impressive. And so those are just two, and I can go on and on about other projects I'm excited about or just like, but yeah, I definitely look at that and just to see kind of the moves they're making.
No, absolutely. I think looking at our competition and kind of seeing what they're doing is huge. So as you know, the big secret in the room is we have some big stuff coming 2021-23. And I know that we have a burn coming. Is there any kind of insight you can share or any kind of like sneak peek to kind of get the community excited about that day coming up?
Yeah, so for the birthday, there's a couple things that we wanted to use this birthday moment for. One is tapping back in with virality. And I think that's very important. I think you see that with a lot of these projects I think Aku for so long was just kind of just on, there wasn't anything for the new entrants to like really get excited about or like poke their head out about. Virality is something that's very important to reach new audiences. So wanted to deliver new assets for people to create their own memes with and gifts with, and like really, like get that out there. Okay, boom, here's the asset pack to make fun stuff with, that like make memes and fun stuff. Okay, boom, use that as a moment. Burn mechanic is important because that's something I see as a temple release mechanism that we can continue to use throughout the year, And it ties into the overarching brand in the sense of the yellow backpack being that mechanism to deliver the assets inside of that, whatever that may be, whether it's a digital or physical. And that also is a tentpole, designed to be a tentpole, mechanism throughout the year. So when you see that yellow backpack, it's on. You don't know what it is. You don't know if it's digital, you know if it's physical, you don't know what it is, but that's that thing that's going to be associated with Aku is like, when you see that yellow backpack pop up on social, boom, it's on. Aku has something exciting for its community, and it's going to be really dope. And so I think creating that kind of cadence is rolling out, starting with the birthday is important, because we haven't had a cadence really before that. There were some things here and there, but what was that through line that people can look to? You look at like artifacts, what they did with the monolith and what they've done. Like, you knew that was something coming, right? So wanted to have that for Aku as well. And then just kind of like getting into tapping across different communities as well is also important. Builders and projects as well with IP, like just kind of working together there as well and collaborating. I think collaboration is key across people within the crypto native ecosystems as well. Because then you get that cross-pollination of communities that we rock with and align with. You can see that, who we're actually rocking with and all that good stuff. And so it's a jam-packed week. Also, we got the apparel releasing, and something special. It's not gonna, something crazy, but it's very thoughtful for Moon Gods, that I thought I wanted to do for Moon Gods for that, and so like that's dropping on the 21st on his actual birthday. Is the apparel that I'm rocking and I've been rocking, that is really high quality, amazingly produced. I designed and drew it, and so like there's a lot of moments jam packed in this week that could really build on each other over time and just keep turning.
Yeah, I've been wearing this shirt out. I need the Moon God Pod needs some more merch just so I look like I actually have more than one shirt.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good, man. The apparel is amazing. You got kid sizes, toddler sizes, and so the whole family can come cohesive, and I think that's what's really special about it. But it's going to be good, man. I think the main thing with the burn mechanic was keeping it simple to start. When I want to like create it very simple, a really beautiful interface. Just keep it really clean and professional for people to utilize and make decisions. I think that's what's fun too. Is like we got to get back to people making decisions. Should I do this or should I do that? It's that simple, because that's fun for me. That comes from a pure place of just fun for me. I want to make decisions, and if I make the bad decision, I make a bad decision. But at least it was my decision to make.
So we always ask our guests, are you a chapters person or an Akutar person? Now, this might be like trying to pick between your two kids, like who you love more, but we got to put you on the spot.
Chapters and Akutars, it's completely different. I can love them both, man, because chapters I look at.
You gotta kind of sway one way or the other.
Can I justify it, or you want a straight up answer?
Both.
All right, justification. Chapters are great because they have long-term value potential proven by the comic book market, the collectible market in the past of IP that has been created, right? You can go back and get a Hulk comic from, way back in the day, 50 some years ago, 67, 70 years ago. And that has proven return on its value over time because the IP grew into what it is. Okay. Spider-Man, etc. So like, I look at chapters as a really cool mechanism that was designed to have multiple exit points along the way. If people wanted to buy and flip, you had that for flippers during the window they were released. You remember 2 chapter 4s came out. Mm-hmm. You could flip those, and really you could buy at the height of it. Like you could literally flip one to fund becoming a moon god. Chapter 8, same thing. So like there were moments along the way in that release where you played into the flippers. You gave them the ability to flip and make money if that was what they were into. Mm-hmm. And that was, to this day, I'll be hard to press to find a better mechanic at that time where it served both purposes. You held it great. Well, you can look at the historical value of collectible assets, rookie cards, all that. They go up and okay, boom, okay. Akutars, Aquatar is an incredibly innovative release in the sense that these are 3D rigged characters that have real like utility and potential in usable environments and games. Whether that's now, whether that's in 3 years, 5 years, these characters have have usable potential in games. So like they're both like innovative in their own right. But chapters personally was just it was a brute force thing that started with me and Dirk, and then Jason came in, and we just hustled and grinded. So there was that special like camaraderie where we were just making things, at that time.
All right, you didn't really pick one, but your justification was warranted. We are kind of running short on time. The sun's coming up here in LA, so that's usually my sign. JwowLax, what we got left?
Yeah, I guess my final question, I would say, when you're talking to the community and basically saying, hey, this is what we have planned for 2023, what would be our selling point to those folks?
The selling point is really that we're going to get back to really integrating back into the crypto culture and embracing it. I don't think I know that whatever we do from the Web 2 perspective will only bolster the IP and the thing, but like you have to stay true to the crypto culture, the degen culture. You have to embrace it if you want to survive in this ecosystem, pure, blank, and simple. And that's something that I just don't think we really acknowledged over the past year in 2022. And it's something that I embraced early on when I was releasing stuff and tapping in and yada yada yada. And so we're coming back. We're embracing the inner degen, man. That's it.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, that's it.
So we finished this episode, or every episode, with two questions: a fun question, and then my favorite final question. But the fun question for you is going to be: we've got the NBA All-Star coming up. We had a ton of trades going on. LeBron with his historic, moment, becoming the all-time scoring leader. I would like to know your all-time starting 5 NBA players.
All right, it's gonna be pretty biased, but
of course.
Point guard, man. Point guard.
Given the way the NBA is now, you don't have to go by position. So
okay. Yeah. So Reggie Miller.
Okay.
Reggie Miller, LeBron, KD. Steph, and I'm gonna say Jokic because I need Jokic to pass the rock to Reggie and just boom baby all day.
I've got a problem. I got a big problem. Did you just mention LeBron without saying Jordan? You didn't say Jordan first.
Well,
no, you're right.
I was a Pacers fan growing up, man. I was a Pacers fan growing up, like religiously a Pacers fan. So
Rick Smits.
There was going to be no Bulls, and there's going to be no Knicks on there.
Okay.
His team's gonna shoot Jordan's team out the gym. They just have to go across half court. KD,
Jamal Tinsley.
Hey. Oh, man. I saw your boy over there, but they had that. Remember that back? They had that thing at the Conrad. That's where I saw your boy right over there.
He was like, yo, I'm driving into my truck, and I jump out, and I had to say hello to him. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I don't think he even parked the car, to be honest with you. I think he just hopped out, man. I was like, hey, man, your car's rolling.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. But that's him. He's nuts.
Yeah, that was great, man. That was great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So our final question, as always, who would you like us to have on the podcast? And the caveat is that you do have to help us get them on the show. And I'm going to just put it out there. You can't pick Roger because he's already been on the show, and we will have him on at some point soon as a collector. So,
you want a collector, or what are you thinking?
Anybody. It can be anybody, and ideally someone that's hard for us to get.
I got these two. I got somebody, but I'm not gonna say it now because I'll tell you next week. But I got 2 people that I think they'll come on together that will really be able to lay the origin story. They're big, people, but like we're a part of my journey as an artist from day one. And they got the potential to make some really big moves in the NFT space. They're big outside of it, but I want them to come on here. So I'll tell you next week, and we'll get them on here.
Well, we never tell anybody who the guest is. That's why, we're the hype machine. We like to build the suspense. But this one will certainly be an episode everyone will be tuning in. I can easily predict that this will be our most viewed episode probably by the end of the day. And, just want to thank you, not just for today, but for every day for the last 2 years. It's been one hell of a ride. And, what's so amazing about Aku for me personally is that February 21st is my sobriety date.
Yeah, I know.
So it'll be 17 years. So it's a big day for Aku. It's a big day for me personally, overcoming obstacles and milestones. And, that's part of why I resonate so much with Aku. So with that, I want to say thanks, JwowLax, for jumping on again. My co-host extraordinaire. And Micah, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, guys. And I appreciate you guys in doing this. This is really good, man. And always good to see you guys.
With that, we will see you next time.
See you guys.